do your prediction?
I think so. Wait,
No,
hold
I
on.
just enabled in the evening. Like,
Oh, then I must have not. I'll do it right now. I must have.
did you?
I did it. I did it twice. So take my second one.
I think it will get updated.
Okay, all right. I did do it.
Okay.
But it seems to be taking a long time to set up the YouTube live. I'm not sure why.
It's live.
It is live?
Where is the link for the predictions? Can you send it again?
Are we live? Parthu?
1 minute.
Yeah, we are live.
Okay, all right. I'll let you start, Parthu, or you want me to start while you finish your predictions?
Yeah, I just will quickly do that. Why don't you start?
Okay, the very first game, sorry guys, we had some technical difficulties and we are on live. Happy to have Parthu Mehta on the show, and not sure if Gaba is joining us today, but Satya is on, and we'll see. We'll start with a few Division 2 games. The first game I want to cover is Ria Riders versus Spartans. I want to welcome everyone to the show. I think we have some exciting games ahead to cover. First of all, the Ria Riders versus Spartans. If you ask me, game was won by Ria Riders on extras because there were 14 wides given by the Spartans versus 12 wides given by Ria Riders. The difference in the game was 2 runs, and the difference was those 2 wides. Again, for Spartans, I would like to say that Akshay 18 had 13 runs, once again getting into double figures. But I feel that Spartans went from 57 to 8 to 95 for 9. That was a fantastic effort there. Sheikh Ismail scored 23 out of 32, no boundaries, and yet 23 out of 32 is a fantastic effort by Sheikh Ismail. Then Ananda had 11 runs in 8 balls, and Avinash had 11 runs in 16 balls. These were the 3 amigos partner for Spartans, and that's what took the score from 57 for 8. Now, anytime the score is 57, I think you should get them all out for within 70. But when the score goes up from 57 to 95, that's the ball game. But then for Ria Riders, Ramakrishna bowled a fantastic smell. 5 overs, he just gave 10 runs and he took 3 wickets. And here is the most important factor: 0 wides, absolutely no extras. So in other words, he went down into lockdown mode, something which Djokovic does, goes into a lockdown mode when the game is on the line. And that's what Ramakrishna did. For Ria Riders, Sai Charan, 12 runs out of 17 balls. Saikat at 13 at 16 balls. And then Sandesh Gandhi had 10 runs and 15 balls. And Ramakrishna, once again, doing it with the bat too. So rightfully judged the man of the match, 14 runs in 23 balls. And I thought it was a fantastic team effort by Ria Riders to win this game. Again, you had Sandeep Babu for Spartans. If he kept them in the game, in his 4 overs, he gave them only 11 runs and picked up 2 wickets in that 4 overs, just giving away 1 wide. Very good, close game. I think this was a fantastic game to win. Even if you lost, I don't think you should get too hard on yourself. It came down to the 2 extras, and that was the difference in the game. Your thoughts on this game, partner?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty close game. And I said, Ria Riders, we've been talking about them. They've been kind of the new boys on the block. They've won quite a few games to get the season started. And I think this game, even though Spartans, fresh from their victory last week, gave them a run for the money, I think those crucial overs at the end, I think made the difference. So I think Ria Riders definitely look as a great unit and a long-term unit. I hope that the team stays together, and it's definitely looking good for them coming into the towards the end of the season.
I think the next game I want to look at is Rangers versus Motor City. Again, I think for Rangers, if you really look at it, Parthiv, I believe the man of the hour, or the man who really made it a close game, was Sandeep Gaud. He had 18 runs, not out in 31 balls. But if you ask me the significance of that innings, in order to understand that, you have to understand the situation that Rangers were in. They were 57 for 8. Again, just like in the previous game, you would think that 57 for 8, you would get them bundled out for 70. But guess what? The score goes from 57 for 8 to 10 for 88 all out. And that's what got Rangers into a tie, because this was a tie. And both games played very well. Motor City, you've got to tip the cap to them. 4 wides, that's all they gave. And if you ask me, all the Motor City bowlers, they bowled well. This was a very well managed game by the skipper. He used only 5 bowlers. All 5 of his top bowlers bowled, and all bowled the 25 overs. And it was a fantastic effort, I thought, from Motor City again. I think Bhargav Srinivasan did a fantastic job with the bat again. 22 runs in 52 balls. And then Naveen Kumar scored 26 in 33 balls, which was an even more impressive effort. But if you look at it, 3 bowlers, Parthav, this is very rare that you get to see this. 3 bowlers for Rangers had exact identical figures. 5 overs, no maiden, 16 runs, 2 wickets. Ifti, Praveen Kumar, and Naga Satish Ayyakam all had identical figures. And if you ask me, those 15 overs were crucial because, and again, I do not know, Parthav, I think it is the Motor City run out, which you probably could chalk it to inexperience, all right? Because the very first ball, I think on the 25th over, they tried to take a run. You have an entire over. Maybe, you know what, this is the last bowler who's trying to bowl. Maybe try to see if he'll bowl a wide. Do you really need to go for that single on the very first ball? But I think Rangers were up to the task, knowing that the game was already tied. I'm sure they had all their players in. This is where I think experience counts. I mean, even if the batsman is not that good in a batsman, you might want to make sure you have a decent plan. But I do not know, Parthav. I think there is a problem with the scorecard, because the ball by ball says that he took 3 runs off that first ball. But when you look at the scorecard, it says 88. It's a tie game. So for me, I think there is a glitch in the software. And I saw this somewhere else too, and I'll bring that up when we cover that game, where what's recorded on the scorecard and what is recorded on ball by ball does not match.
Correct. And I think that's something which we pointed out as a committee to this Motor City team as well, because there was definitely a run out which sealed the game. But somehow, whoever was scoring, or maybe it's a glitch in the software, it recorded 3 runs, which doesn't make sense. If it's a tie, it has to be a wicket, because the way the match was progressing, it had to be a wicket to close the game. So definitely, I think something which is not correct in the scorecard. But overall, I think yes, you are absolutely right. I think Motor City had the game in the hands when Bhargav and Naveen were batting. I think they had a very solid partnership, which got them to about 60 odd, chasing 88. When you're 63 for 3, chasing 88, you pretty much can assume that you're going to get there. But I think towards the end there was some harakiri. I think and as you rightly pointed, it was the inexperience, the lack of being in that situation where you're winning with a big margin, and how to kind of close the game. That's what I think Motor City would probably need to learn from this game, to close the game when it's in your hands, and not give a sniff of an opportunity for the opposition. But I'm sure for the neutral spectators, it must be a great game to see. A tie game is always is very exciting, very great to watch from an outside point of view. So both teams went ball to ball, wire to wire, and both teams had chances. So ultimately, it was a fair result, I guess.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a Rangers experience showed in this game, because if they bowled the 24th over, and he gave away only 2 runs. And they took it all the way to the wire, and they said, okay, Motor City, you show me what you have, and let us see if inexperience will cough up the game. And that's exactly what happened. FT Bolt just gave away 2 runs, so that became a tight game at that point of time. And then, sure enough, the unfortunate run out happened. And I'm sure Motor City, when they go back and look at this game, they'll say that, you know what, if we had thought this through, we might have been able to pull this game out. Or if we had used some of our DCL experience, which we are probably lacking at this time, and definitely lesser experience than Rangers. And Rangers can thank their experience for pulling this game out, because Sandeep Goud, when he played that magnificent innings, 18 in 31, 18 not out in 31, is you wouldn't talk about it in such glowing terms on any other day. But when you take your score from 57 to 88, you have really done your team. He earned them the win, if you are, or the tie. Let's put it that way. They were never in the game, and Sandeep Goud brought them into the game.
Yep, absolutely.
The next game I want to cover is local boys versus the Lions, Punjab Lions.
Yes.
And now, Parthiv, do you have any idea why it was a 22-over game? Because if you ask me, Punjab Lions lost this game because it was a 22-over game. If it was a 25-over game, they are probably winning this game.
Yeah, I think there was something that was not correct in this game. And I think right now there is some level of discussion which is going on. The committee has got to know about the makeup of this game and how this game transpired. So I right now I can't reveal what the findings are, but we are investigating, how this game turned out to be 22 overs, and then what was how the outcome was judged based on the shortened game. But as you can see here, the game is not yet. The result hasn't been. The game is still open, so it hasn't ended. Like in technical terms on the website. So that's why I think the result hasn't been posted. But from what I know, local boys have won the game by virtue of the 2 captains playing. But still, I think this game is still under investigation right now.
Okay. I guess we can then say that Ravi Kumar, 43 out of 57. He had a fantastic game for local boys. Yeah, but by the way, Parthiv, when you guys have these findings, don't you think these findings should be broadcast publicly, because rather than privately? Because at the end of the day, it impacts the whole league. It's not just the 2 teams which are impacted, but the whole league is impacted. So when you send out
local boys win, so for the prediction, I calculated local boys won the game for predictions. So
yeah, by virtue of what the game result has been, that is the declared winners. Those are the declared winners. But there has been some back and forth complaints and going on for this game. But to answer your point, Viju, yes, we generally make it public when there is a the impact on the league, when a particular, either it's a result or a behavior or some sort of a penalty which impacts the teams. But a lot of times, these issues are handled if it's an error from an umpire or an error, a lot of complaints come through us for error in how decisions are being made, and quality of grounds, things of that nature. Those are the kind of issues we try to kind of just resolve based on what the complaint is and who the complaint person is, and try to kind of work with them to understand it and then resolve it with them. Because creating that in a big forum just makes it a little more tedious and gets a lot of people talking, when actually we don't really need a lot of people to weigh in on some of them.
I guess my concern is with this game. For example, why was this game? As a neutral spectator, for me, no reason why this game should have been truncated from 25 overs to 22 overs. That is against the rules. You get my point. That is not fair to all the other teams which are playing 25 over game, that two teams decide to play 22 over game, if that is the case. And in this particular case, if I am the Punjab Lions skipper, I have only myself to blame, because you have the better batting unit, at least on paper, probably. And also, you know that local boys, for the most part, on the show, we have been saying that Srinivasan Elimelai, you get him out, then you probably can run through the local boys line. Though in this particular game, there are two guys who lifted their hand and said, no, we are more than Srinivasan Elimelai. We too are capable of batting. And sure enough, and in this game, those two guys performed. That's why local boys were in this game, because Srinivasan Elimelai did not do anything, did squat in this game. So if you really look at it, it's these two guys who made it into a game. But at the end of the day, if Lions had played 25 overs, I felt they would have won this game, because in 22 overs, yes, they did not overall the score. But if they had 3 more overs, they had another 4 wickets in hand. For sure, they would have overall the score and won this game. But anyway, those were the thoughts which crossed my mind. Of course, I would like to know, because it impacts the entire league, as to why this was made into a 22 over game. I think it affects everybody, and also it sends a warning signal to everybody else that you're not free to go and decide things on your own just because I feel like playing a 21 over game. No, the league is a 25 over format, and there is a reason for that. And we have historically always been a 25 over format. Keep it that way.
Absolutely, and I think that's basically what we also believe in, that the game, unless there's interruption, weather related, or things that are out of control, there are provisions for shortened games, but then that has to be there has to be a reason for it, and there has to be umpires consent, and all those things matter as well. So in this case, as I said, there are a lot of facts which we still need to determine, and so right now it would be unfair for me to comment on this as to what really happened. But yeah, next week we'll probably get throw some light on it, and also talk about how this all transpired.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so now you can drive from here. I think we've covered the 3 games which we wanted to cover in Division 2.
Yep, I think the first game we'll cover in the order in which is listed from bottoms up is Indus Thunders versus Dynamites. Now, this game, I personally thought, with the way Dynamites have been playing lately, I thought this would be a close game, and Dynamites could give Thunders a run for their money. But in the end, I think it was Thunders who really came through, very comfortably, I would say, batting first and scoring 102. And Anirudh, I played with him a little bit, and Chetan Dushyant, the evergreen hero, the unsung hero. I call him like the Dravid of Indus Thunders. He never gets a lot of the due credit. With both bat, ball, he performs day in and day out for Indus Thunders, but it is generally the big names that take a lot of the Indus Thunders credit. But if you ask me, he's been from a long time the guy who has been performing both with bat and ball. In this case, those 29 runs along with Anirudh made all the difference. But I think on the Dynamite side, I think they missed a trick here. I think they rely a lot on these new faces who have suddenly come in and tried to kind of completely take over the Dynamite, at least the bowling unit, I would say. I don't know. I mean, batting still has a few of the old veterans. I still don't see Satish Sankara. I think he was a pretty strong, Dynamite's batter at the top. He's been missing from that batting unit. I think that is a big one. And then Arun Selvaraj, very, very surprising that he comes almost last. He's the last wicket, or he's not out actually, but he comes at the last. I remember playing Dynamites in the semi-finals. He actually scored, if I'm not mistaken, a 50 in that, and he really took us to the cleaners in that semi-final. So I'm very, very surprised to see him now bat towards the end of the innings. And it might be the total case of, as we were talking about, you trying to butter these new faces to stay with them, and and in that kind of losing your core unit. And I feel Vijay might have saved the Dynamites from Division 2. I mean, as long that's what it's looking right now. But in the process, I feel that he might lose a lot of his Dynamite score unit. Viju, how do you feel about that?
Part of the person who you were talking about, who took the game away from you, were talking about was who?
Selvaraj, Arun.
Arun Selvaraj. Okay, but here is the question: Arun Selvaraj was the skipper in this game. So
wow.
So I mean, who can we fairly blame Vijay for that? I mean, I know Vijay is front and center of Dynamites, and he is the face of Dynamites and things like that. But when Arun Selvaraj is the skipper in this game, at least I'm going by the star next to him, then I feel it is Arun Selvaraj's decision which cost them, which puts them there. Now, maybe Selvaraj has a justifiable reason, I'm not sure, or it could be the captain syndrome. When you are the skipper, you always push it.
Not Selvaraj. The other
what
guy,
is that?
other Arun. There is two Aruns in that team. Who bats, who came.
I think Satya is questioning your memory. He's saying that it is Arun Swaminathan who probably took the game away from you.
No, I remember. No, I remember very well. He scored a big 50 in that semi-final, and he took the game. I know Arun Selvaraj. Like, I cannot forget him. He hammered me for 2 sixes. So if you go back in, I think it's the 21 season or 22, one of the two.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if he's the captain, then yes, it begs the question, why?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, when I look at this game, again, I see some scoring issues. This is the game where I want to tell you the system is this thing. Let's first talk about Anirudh Dorle. Absolutely fantastic batsman. He's a fantastic player. It's a great, I think he's a great leather ball player, and he's also a very good T-ball player. 41 and 69. Parthiv, in this game, only two batsmen showed up. That is Chetan Dushyant and Anirudh Dorle. Between them, they had 70 runs. There were 15 runs in extras. That means the rest of the team scored a grand total of 17 runs. That's what the rest of the 9 guys did. So it's nothing much which any of those 9 guys can talk about. So it's really comes down to just these two guys, Anirudh and Chetan. And again, I have always said this privately. I've said this: if I needed somebody to bat for my life, I would probably pick Arjun Ajbani to bat for my life. And if I can't get Arjun Ajbani to bat for my life, I would like Chetan Dushyant to bat for my life. I mean, he is that good is what I feel. I mean, he's a fantastic DCL player. And once again, in this game, again, the system is reporting on the scorecard, Parthiv. It says 1-4 and 1-6, all right? But if you go by ball, it says Chetan Dushyant has hit 2 sixes. So that means somewhere the system is also under-reporting the number of 6s and 4s. So maybe maybe you guys need to take a look at this whole software business, because whatever stats is being spit out by cricket clubs, somehow they are swallowing something. So sometimes when we say the number of wickets, I hope every DCL skipper who has one of their players in the lead or something like that will go and actually look and see if it's actually matching up with the figures, or whether the system is under-reporting. Because clearly in this game, there are 2 6s, and you can see this from the ball-by-ball scorecard. You get my point? But when you go to the actual scorecard, it says only 1-6. And so...
I see 2 6s. One by Chetan. Yeah, one by Chetan and one by Anirudh, right?
No. Chetan says only... go and look at the figure next to Chetan's this thing. You will find that it says 1-6 and 1-4.
Correct, yeah.
All right, now go to the ball-by-ball.
Okay.
And there you will find that... And in ball-by-ball... No, I mean, go by ball-by-ball. It says that Chetan has hit 2 6s.
Okay.
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 I don't know if you Chetan 18.3 hits a 4. That is 1-4. All right. And then what is this? Let's see. Where do we have this? This is Dynamites. Let me look at Indus Thunders. Indus Thunders, we have, there's our friend Chetan.
I mean, I think they might have corrected it. I'm not seeing where. I see 2 6s, one by Chetan in the 25th over.
22.4. 22.4. Anirudh Dorle hits a 6, right?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Then Chetan Dushyant 23.3 hits a 4.
Right.
24.3 he hits a 6.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, then I think it should be accurate, right? I don't know. I mean, they might have. A lot of times people put in things erroneously and then they correct it, so it might be that case.
Well, maybe I might have mistaken Anirudh Dorle 6 for Chetan Dushyant 6. That could be a possibility. Because I thought I saw 2 6s, but I could be wrong here. Anyway, let's continue on. Then in that case, I should take back my comments. That would be right.
I mean, scorecard corrections are a common thing. Every Monday morning we get a ton of at least 4 or 5 emails for scorecard corrections because a lot of people either put the wrong over or somebody else's over, somebody else's batter column. So it might be that you might have seen something, but they might have updated it after.
Okay. Parthiv, let me continue on here. In this game, Vijay did everything he could. He even brought in Norman Anwar for this game. Now, Norman Anwar is the guy who has like 300 strike rate, 350 strike rate. In 20 balls, he hits like, I don't know, 70, 80 runs, 100 runs and things like that, you see. But in this game, once again, DCL has humbled Norman Anwar. In 9 balls, he scored 2 runs. I mean, I think I myself would do a little better than that. All right. So when you score 9 balls, 2 runs, I think it's fair to say that Norman Anwar became neutralized Anwar. That's what our friends in Indus did to Norman Anwar. They have converted him into neutralized Anwar. Now I know that Norman might be not too happy about the fact that Norman Anwar became neutralized Anwar. But anytime he comes back and puts on a 375 strike rate and scores 20 balls, 80 runs, we'll make him into awesome, bombastic Anwar. All right. That's the frame I can think of. But I think Kushan is a good bowler. And I remember saying this on last show that our friend Vijay was not using him well. And I think on the last show, I did say that Kushan is a better bowler than Arun Selvaraj. At least that's in my book. All right. If I was the skipper, I'm giving the ball to Kushan before I give the ball to Arun. Arun is a pretty good bowler too. But if I had to choose between those two guys, I would definitely choose Kushan. Now, we know that Vijay is a smart guy. He probably heard this and decided he needed to correct some things. But I would say that since Arun Selvaraj is the skipper, he's even smarter than Vijay because he did not bowl a single over. Now, it is often Vijay who is tossing the ball to Arun Selvaraj. But when Arun Selvaraj was the skipper, he said, hey, I know when I see a good thing, Kushan is a better bowler than me, and he's going to bowl the 5 overs. And I'll give all the credit to Arun Selvaraj as a skipper because he did everything possible. But at the end of the day, it is DCL, and you might be Norman Anwar, you might be Sirajuddin, and you might be all these high-priced talent, but they can't get the job done against a complete unit like Indus Thunders. I mean, they have a very balanced unit out there, and they have some very, very good players on their team. So you know that they can get the job done. But I think the key to beating Indus Thunders is getting rid of Chetan. That's why last year I said the moment we can break through, we were very confident of going into the game against Indus Thunders last year. Our confidence was on one thing, that if we can break through Chetan Dushyant, then that wall starts cracking open. And yes, I think last year Banguera was there to aid them. This year, Banguera has not played a single game. And since I believe this was the 10th game, pretty much you can be very much right out that Banguera will be sitting out this DCL season.
I thought Banguera did play one of the games. I might be wrong. Maybe it was another tournament. Maybe.
I don't remember seeing him in DCL.
Yeah,
in fact, I didn't see him on any squad, neither the Stars squad nor the Indus Thunder squad. Now, I know that he was in India for most part, so he probably never had the opportunity to play either.
Right. But I think still, I mean, with the unit that they had this weekend, beating Dynamite so easily definitely adds a lot more confidence. They're still missing the services of Dinesh and Manoj in this game. So add them to this squad will definitely add more teeth to the Indus Thunders. So yeah, they must be very, very happy with this victory. I think this was much easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I know that our friend Maulik Patel told Vijay Shanmugam to bring his best unit. And Vijay did bring his best unit. But at the end of the day, Indus Thunders were just a bit too much.
Yep.
But mainly those two guys were a bit too much, Anirudh and Chetan Dushyant.
Yep. And the next game we have is GLCC and Titans. Unfortunately, we don't have our two analysts who would have been great going at each other for this game. But we'll try to do justice. I felt this was a game which turned on its head towards the end of the Detroit Titans innings. I think that partnership between Dhwanit and Ronnie brought some life into the game. All but that by that time, I really thought GLCC had that game wrapped up. I think they were 45 or 48 for 7. Looking at that scorecard and chasing 98, I had given Detroit Titans no chance of coming back into the game. But it was that late heroics between Dhwanit and Ronnie that really brought them in the game. But then I was following that game in the last over. I think they needed 8 or 9 runs in that last over, and it was Ronnie who was the villain in that game. In that last over, I think he ate up like the first 3 or 4 balls. And I don't know whether he's the first guy to be retired out in DCL. That's something that we'll have to check on the stats for that. But it was too late for somebody to come in the last 3 balls and try to get 9 runs. I felt that's where Gabaji probably lost the trick. He should have probably had Dhwanit get on strike. If not the first ball, the second ball. Get Ronnie to I touch and go, get run out, doesn't matter. They had a couple of wickets in hand, so it wouldn't have mattered that much. I think that's where that game. I mean, they had it. They had it in Detroit Titans had a sniff, but I think that last over, somehow that strategy didn't probably in the thick of things. Gabaji lost that trick. And on the GLCC side, I mean, even on the bowling side, I felt I would love to know Gabaji's strategy around not giving Ronnie his full quota of overs, because he's been the pick of their bowlers this season. He, along with Parag, both have been, if you look at even at the bowling statistics, they are like probably in the top 5 of the wicket takers this season. So it's very surprising, unless there is a reason for Ronnie either being injured or something, not fit or tired. Him not bowling his 5 overs, it's quite surprising. So I felt Ronnie was the guy which this match centered around. He had a fantastic outing with the bat, but the last over I think could have been thought differently. I think Dhwanit should have been on strike.
Yeah, Partha, I think before we get to that, I have some Few notes which I want to cover up, but Hemant had a fantastic game, 35 out of 49 balls. Hitesh, 20 of 28 balls. Akash Patel did not do much in this game, one of the rarities. But if you ask me, this was the HH boys, Hitesh and Hemant, getting the job done. But I thought for Titans, Parag was the pick of the bowlers. When you bowl 5 overs, 2 made in 6 runs, I don't care about the wickets, but that is outstanding bowling. Obviously, somebody else is going to pick the wickets. In this case, Ophir Masi picked up the wickets. But again, I think Satish Gaba himself bowled that 1 over. That probably went way beyond necessary. I think that's where I'm not sure why Ronnie did not bowl the 5 overs. Again, only Gaba can answer that question. But having said that, you are right. You are right when you're saying that Ronnie ended up being the villain, because I'll tell you what the talk on the DCL street is. The talk on the DCL street is that Ronnie messed up this game. There is also a talk which is going on that Gaba was indecisive. And I personally thought that Gaba missed a trick on this one. Yes, he's our fellow analyst, and yes, we like him and he's our friend and things like that. But at the same time, I do think that he missed a trick in this game. I think in this particular game, KK got the better of Gaba. All right. Now, the reason I say this is I do think that early on, Ronnie did fine. But towards the end, when the game gets on the line, Ronnie has a tendency to let the pressure get to him. And sure enough, in this game, that's exactly what happened. I think if you really look at it, Dwanit scored 28 out of 31, but he really did not get any of the strike. Now, if you really look at it, 24th over, Parthiv, there were 11 runs scored. Out of that 11 runs, 9 runs are scored by Dwanit. 1 was a wide, and Ronnie only scored 1 run. All right. That tells me the hot hand is with Dwanit. That means Dwanit needs to get the strike, and Dwanit needs to be the man in charge at that point of time. Now, let's go to the 25th over. And in the 25th over, Ronnie bats 4 balls and scores 2 runs. And then he is retired out. Now, this is where I think Gaba made a mental mistake. He should have retired Ronnie out a lot earlier than that. You see? And in 24.3, I have no idea why they went and scored 2 runs, because that brings Ronnie back into strike again. All right? So this is again, there is a mental mistake here. Dwanit should have been turning that ball down. Gaba should have, if I was Gaba, 24.1, I'm walking into the middle. And I'm telling Ronnie, either he's retiring out because most of the strike needs to go back to Dwanit. We need to do something or the other to get Dwanit on strike. We have wickets in hand. And I think most skippers, they don't make a job of moving into the middle. They assume that the people in the middle can figure it out. But Parthiv, the people in the middle already have to figure out how to score the runs, and dealing with the bowler and dealing with all the chit chat. It always helps to have somebody who's sitting outside, especially the skipper who is supposed to be in charge of the game, come and tell them exactly what needs to get done. Because if you go to the striker game, I honestly felt the strikers were clinical in making sure they got 5 points out of that game, because 3 more balls and you know that Canton Hurricanes would have taken a bonus point away, you see. So I feel that here Gaba did miss a trick here. He should have been a little more decisive, and I would give kudos to Samish, who bowled a fantastic 25th over, made sure that GLCC won the game. But most importantly, I think I'll give all the credit in the world to KK, because he figured out how to get his team the win. Again, this is a DCL game. 80, 85, 90 runs is going to get the job done on almost all occasions, especially when top teams play. And sure enough, in this game too, I mean, there are good teams playing out there. And I think this is a game which Gaba would like to have back. This is the game which I think if he could go back and redo something, he can manufacture a win out of this game based on the current circumstances. But he might have changed a few things. But I think yes. I think in the end, Ronnie cost them the game because that standalone it might be good enough, but in the situation and in the circumstances they were facing, it was not good enough.
Yep, I definitely think. I mean, it's cricket is a harsh game. Yes, he probably, as we're talking about, he messed up the last over, but to give him credit, he got the game this far along with Dunit. So, yeah, in the end, he couldn't deliver and finish it. Change a little bit of common sense, even from him. He's an experienced guy. So even though we talk about the captain, from the dugout, but he's an experienced guy. He should have known to just get off the strike of the first ball and let Dwanit handle it from there. But yeah, I mean, sometimes the pressure gets the best of us. So that pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's the case in this scenario where Ronnie probably didn't probably use some common sense, which he could have saved the game.
Parthu, I would have loved to hear Gaba's take on this because we would have really put some tough questions to him.
Yeah.
And I really would have. I really would have liked to hear his answers on this, and I would have loved to have KK also on the show. To think what he was going through and take us through what was the mindset at that point and what were they thinking, because that would have thrown more light into this game. Because I do not know about you, but I was refreshing the scorecard ball by ball kind of a thing. So,
right. Yeah, because I would have had the same question for KK as well. Samish is coming back from an injury. He's not been bowling. I played with him in the T90. He's still not at his best. So, giving him or handing him the ball in the last over, it might be Samish's call for what all we know. Because he's been there in that situation for a very long time, so it might be his call. But yeah, those would have been really interesting questions to ask both of those guys. Like, what was the conversation in the last few overs? Definitely would have been intriguing.
Yeah, but it was a great game, Partha. I mean, I really enjoyed.
Yep.
I couldn't see the game, but at least refreshing it. And I think I tried to watch the game, but I think that video was already frozen or whatever it was. But I couldn't get anything there.
Yep. All right. So the next game we come is the game which I think you would be watching live. I'm pretty sure. Fighters versus Gladiators. I'm pretty sure all of us on the analyst predicted Gladiators to win this. Fighters, although have been really good team all through the last season and this season as well, but their form has been patchy, if I have to call it that way. So I didn't really expect Fighters to kind of come and win this game comprehensively. I mean, 31 runs is quite comprehensive. But I think it was, when I looked at the scorecard, definitely a lot of gaps in the Gladiators unit. Still don't see a lot of the faces that I would expect to see. So I'm pretty sure availability is a big issue still. And I'm pretty sure the next couple of weeks is going to be tough as well. I know 40s are going into playoffs. So it's going to be tough getting into, especially considering the next few games for Gladiators are big ones. One against that I think you guys are playing KR. No,
we're playing GLCC and then KRCC.
Correct. Yeah. So the next two games, big games.
Yeah, I mean, as you rightly said, the 40s are at a peak point right now.
Yep. So
that's an issue.
That's going to be a huge issue. But in this game, coming back to this game, I think Fighters, the veteran hero Sainath, I've always admired his batting and his unorthodox style of how he bats. I mean, if you look at him from a very far, he has a very peculiar stance. He almost reminds me of the right-handed version of Chandrapal, Shivnarayan Chandrapal. He has a very peculiar stance. The way he plays his shots are very, very unorthodox, and even lack of style, I would say, but he's very effective. I know I've seen him play for Falcons for years together, and he's always been that guy who is so hard to get out. In this case, he was the guy who actually made a huge difference, along with contributions from Ravi Tej Pujari and Mahesh Babu, at the bottom. But I think his at top order, along with Jitin, made the start really good, and then momentum carried along. But I also felt Gladiators bowling was very erratic. 19 extras, that was a lot of wides, especially Naeem's. 10 wides in 3 overs. That was, a a bunch more than what you would expect. But I guess, again, with the availability issue, I feel like, you probably didn't have the bowling unit to go after. So people like Tala and Naeem and Hardeep were called upon. Even Suyog, I don't think he features in the the regular bowling lineup for Gladiators. So I think with the unit which Gladiators had, I think it was they did you guys did start really well with Taif and Umair. Umair, I think, is definitely now getting to grips. I've been like ever since we've talked about and you've gone on the air and talked about he needs to get a little more aggressive. He's starting to show a little more of that, and this is a fine knock at the top. But then towards the end, towards the middle order, apart from Hardeep, I think he too was slow to start with, but then he always has the ability to match up or catch up with the strike rate. But no real contributions. I was expecting Udit to show. I feel he's another left-hander that I love watching, but he didn't come through. But yeah, all in all, I think it's the availability which is still hurting Gladiators, and come towards the end of the season, it's definitely going to impact how you guys stack up in the pool and the seeding that would go into the playoffs.
Parthav, you should remember what I told you at the beginning of the season. Our goal is just to make the playoffs, which at this point, I still do not know if we make the playoffs. All right. So we need to win at least one out of the remaining 3 games. I think we need 2 to be a little safer. But I think we know that. And I think going into this game, you can only play the cards you've been handed, right? As of Friday night, we had only 9 players. Believe it or not, you're on the committee. I'm not sure if you see it, but somebody on the committee definitely saw suddenly a rush of getting some waivers signed and things like that. And we put people on that on this unit who we have not seen at all in our life. There is a person who we heard, okay, he's available. We just signed him. Somebody else we heard is available, coming from Pakistan, landing in a flight. We signed them. We put it out there. All right. I mean, I would give credit to Mansab for going out of his way to somehow get us 11 players. Unfortunately, the flight did not land in time and things like that. But, what can you do? I mean, that's kind of what the hand we have been playing with. So going on that day, I knew that if we win, it will be a fluke. If we don't win, at least I expected us not to win this game. I mean, yeah, but you go in with a brave face, but you know that you don't have the hand. It's unfair to expect a skipper to pull out a game from that. All you can say is, try your best. I think the score which we put was pretty decent, but I'll let Satya speak a bit because he was the skipper for this game. He has something, and then I'll finish up my thoughts.
Yeah. So going into the game, as Vijay said, we didn't have 11, and I'm not saying that like when you are getting into the game, you should win it. So that's what we are trying to do. Everybody, like it doesn't matter whom we are showing up. That means if they are in the squad, they should be capable of doing it. So I would say Sai played very well. So he knows our weakness. He played on our weakness. So he could able to hit the twos and pick the slope fielders to get those singles easily. If he's not run out, he would have easily made 150 for sure, that score. But though he was run out, the others were in hitting mode. They were not trying to rotate. But at the end of the innings, Mahesh Babu and the other guy, they were rotating very well. They were scoring like 4 to 6 runs in a over. And really, my 4th and 5th option bowlers, I didn't have really worked out. Like Naim, I didn't expect 10 extras, and even myself, not 29, but I didn't have option. Like, uh, though my injury, I'm not able to bowl the pace, so I was just throwing the ball. I didn't have any other options to go. But the first three bowlers, they did their best. Like, Thala did what he can do. He was also trying to get there, but end of the day, it was 128 is little too much for this ball and for the for us to with this squad. I did expect the openings and the first three downs. We want to stay for at least 80 to 90 runs. Then we can with the others we can manage like another 20 to 30 runs. But they opened very well. Umair and Taib, they were playing very good. That run out really killed us. If not, they would have scored easily 60 to 70 runs for sure. But after that, Udit, Suyog, Hardeep, really they could have got the score more than 100 for sure. But that run out, it's it's not even a run. They just ran. Umair, I don't know why he ran for it, but he was playing very good at that place. But yeah, kudos to fighters. They really did what they want to do. I know they also didn't have a couple of players, but at the end of the day, we need the win, and they got the win with the 5 points. So congrats, fighters. So we'll see. This week we are expecting to win this game. So this might be a key game for us to win. We don't want to get into the last couple of games to try to win. We know the last 2 weeks is going to be playoffs again. So we'll put our best team to win this GLCC game. That's what our goal is.
Yeah, Partha, but unfortunately, this the F's what is that Mishka schedule really is putting a screw on us, you know. So the thing is, this is where the loss to strikers early in the season is really coming back to hurt us. You know, that was a game which we probably should not have lost, given that. But it is what it is. You can only play what you have, and if your opponent plays better than you, too good. I think. Partha, the scorecard which you see, if those two teams play 10 times, I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times Mahesh Babu and Spiders will win, because Glads did not have the unit which can compete with that particular unit which was there playing on Saturday. I'm talking about the 11 which Glads fielded and the 11 which, or the 12 which both sides fielded on that particular Saturday. If you play 10 games, I'll give it to you in writing. 9 out of 10 times, the Fighters team will win. And sure enough, the Fighters team won it. I thought Sainath and Mahi Masood, I think, is a fantastic player. They played really well. And there was good support from Ravitej Pujari and Mahesh Babu himself. Again, 17 wides, out of which 2 of the bowlers are the people who contributed the most wides. 9 contributed 10 wides in 3 overs. You know, you can't recover from that. You know, it's as simple as that. But when he was bowling it straight, sure enough, when he bowled straight, I mean, he was picking wickets and he was bowling well. The skipper himself, he was compromised going into the game. He already had a back injury. Now, should he have bowled 1 over? Yes, to see that. But I think this is where a captain has to put a full stop on himself. After the first over, when it was very obvious that he did not have the pace, and when it was very obvious he couldn't put in the full effort, and that first over had gone for 13 runs, I probably will not bowl myself another 2 overs. Nothing to be gained, especially when you could have bowled that 2 overs to Taif bowled only 4 overs and Talha bowled 4 overs. Now they were bowling better than others, so I probably would have used those 5 overs. I think this is where Satya will have to go back and look at this game and see what are the mistakes which he made in this game, because only a fool does not learn from his mistakes. So he needs to go back and he needs to spend some time self-evaluation and say that, you know, what are the things which I could have corrected? What are the things which I could have done better? Because honestly, Partha, we knew what the strength of who's the Sai is, and yet we allowed him to score many times doubles because we had the wrong fielder. Now, I remember at the 12-over mark calling all the way from 10,000 miles away, saying that hey, we got 2 wickets and these guys are running circles around us. Remove the people who are there on the leg side and put them in the offside where they have at least some sort of a fence marker. Sure enough, the number of runs which was conceded after the 12-over break was lesser than the 12-over break. And also we took 8 wickets. You get my point? So sometimes some small adjustments have to be made, and that is something a skipper has to look and see, okay, what is going on and why will this thing. But here is the problem: when there are multiple people speaking, sometimes you're not thinking straight through. I think that 128 could have been made into 105. Then even then we would have lost the game, but at least it would have been a little more palatable and a little more respectable. This one, they had us beaten hands down, pants down. They outclassed us in every department, I would say. But I think the silver lining for us is Hardeep hit 2 boundaries, 1 4 and a 6. I hope that's the coming out. We were very concerned that he had not been scoring runs. I think Umair batted very well. All right. This is the first game where I really felt that this guy can bat. Up till now, I was not very convinced. I mean, I was like, okay, I don't think we can get the job done. But this game, I thought he batted extremely well. And I think that really opens up the things. And maybe it's just him getting comfortable. Now I can see some of why we felt he was a good batsman. I do not know. I had not seen him before. So when I'm told that he's a good batsman, okay, well, now I can understand for what reason. Again, I think his run out, as Satya said, that we couldn't afford it. And again, there is a classic statement: never run on a misfield. And it was a misfield, and you ran 2 on that misfield, and that was the ball game. If you ask me, if Umair doesn't get run out, probably we might have made a better fight of it. I'm not saying we would have won the game. As I said, if those two teams play again 10 times, 9 times, I'll give it to Fighters. But yeah, congrats to them. They had to win this game, and I thought they really, I thought they led well and they played well. It was a good team to play against. I thought it was a good game of cricket, but we couldn't pull even a bonus point out of them.
Yep, definitely. I mean, this win definitely keeps the pool Group A very, very interesting. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positions up for grabs. I would say 4, 5, 6, and 7, not 8. Definitely keeps everyone interested. We still, as strikers, still have to play Fighters. That is going to be a really interesting game. I feel it's the last game of our season. So that will, most probably I'm anticipating that would be kind of our make or break into the playoff, whether we get into playoffs or not. So that's something which is going to be really interesting. All right, let's go to the next game. The next game was the Hawks Derby, or the Hawks Tourney, which I have to call it. Troy Hawks versus Hawks. And given the way Troy Hawks have been performing, and I mean Hawks too, it was a contest of relative opponents. I think both teams haven't shown much promise this season. Troy Hawks does have a history, and Hawks have been, off and on. They had a good season last time around, but this season they haven't shown a lot of the promise that they had. A few games, I would say, even they would agree that they let it go when they had a chance. But this was a very, very comprehensive victory. Troy Hawks came in, scored that mammoth 121, courtesy of Mustafa Malik. And contributions from Natraj and Venu. But once they scored that 121, Hawks were pretty much out of the game. With this wicket and this ball and the type of bowling that Troy Hawks has, I think this was always going to be a tall order. But Hawks, folded very, very cheaply, 56. That didn't help. That doesn't help their standing. Not even a bonus point, but definitely helps Troy Hawks because keeps them in the hunt. Because before this game, it looked like Troy Hawks was another team that will have to really watch for the whether they trickle into Division 2. Because remember, bottom 2 teams from each pool go into Division 2. So right now, as things stand, Troy Hawks and Canton Hurricanes are the bottom two teams in Group A. But this win definitely helps Troy Hawks to keep it, at least have a chance now. But there's two games behind everyone, so they still have a few games to go. But this win definitely helps Troy Hawks keep them in the hunt for at least staying in Division One. Playoffs might be a gone case altogether, but important win for staying in Division One.
Partha, this was a surprise game, right? I mean, all of us had
Yep.
Hawks beating Troy Hawks, but I told you last week, after Glads played Troy Hawks, that Mustafa Malik is a fantastic batsman. And that,
Hmm.
once we got him out, all right, again, that's when the game became wide open for us. But as long as he is there, I mean, even though he might have scored only, I don't know, 15 or 20 runs against us, that was enough of uh, variety to show me that this guy is capable of. And so this game, when he scored this higher a number, it was Mustafa Malik. He's the one, like Eminem, like M&Ms. Every kid likes M&Ms, and Mustafa Malik got the job done in this game. Nataraj and Venu had good cameo roles for Troy Hawks, but the Hawks batting collapsed, Parthiv. In this game, it was a complete
Yep.
collapse by their batting unit. It's a bad loss for for Hawks, because I honestly feel that they have some very good bowling there and they have
Hmm.
decent batting and things like that. So I didn't see this coming. I'll be the first one to tell you. I honestly felt that Hawks can beat anybody on a good day if they have a few things going their way. So I did not see that coming. But credit Troy Hawks. I mean, they batted very well and they did a fantastic job. I think Venu is leading them, and he led well from the front. I mean, he himself batted well, and this is a good win. So I'll give them all the credit and congrats to them. And most importantly, uh, there is still a question mark as to which two teams is going to go into Division Two next year. I mean, playoffs, as you said, that might be very difficult, but anything is possible if you can win all the games. But they have a good player in Mustafa Malik, and hopefully they can hold on to it.
Yep. The next game is the Canton Hurricanes and Strikers, and it was a very, very unusual game. And if you look at the scorecard, you'll know what I'm saying. I like the
Oh my
Troy
God,
Hawks, but
72, and the next highest score is 3. I mean, that's what stands out, right?
absolutely, I think it was a very, very weird game because we couldn't get Amit out. But what we did better was at least get the other batsman on the other end out. So we kept picking wickets, but Amit just kept hitting us. He hit five sixes and four fours. So he was and he played at a very decent strike rate, 92. So he was scoring on one end, and it didn't really matter. I was, behind the stumps. I was anticipating, the loss of these partners will impact his batting. He will try something different, or he'll go in his shell, try to play it out a little bit. He gets slow, but he just kept going. He just kept going the way he was playing from the very first ball. If there is a ball to hit, he went for it, and most often than not, as you can see in the 72 runs, he connected it. But I think where we missed the trick, and I was talking to Sujay, and he's still learning the ropes, and he's still in that mode where he's trying to give people chances. As you can see, we tried 8 different bowlers where actually we didn't have to. I think if you look at the bowling stats, I think pretty much everyone, the first top five, at least we had 5 bowlers who were doing good. We could have just basically had them bowl the 25 overs. We didn't have to give people 1 or 2 overs in between. I think that's where we ended up giving a few more runs. We could have wrapped this innings much earlier, like 75, 80 runs probably. But credit should go to Sujay. I think he's a standout performer for us with both bat and ball. And added, doing the captaincy, he's had a standout season. 6 wickets in this game for 6 runs. He was just freaking unplayable in this game. And even Amit, he gave him all the respect. He made sure that he didn't lose his wicket or didn't go for extraordinary shots in his over. But the other bowlers did suffer. But yeah, Sujay was just outstanding. His control, his variety is just one to look at. I think probably, I don't know if I have seen enough left arm spinners in DCL, but I think he's definitely right up there in terms of a spinner who can use his guile, and he doesn't have the pace, and that's something that he could probably work on. But his guile and his accuracy is just phenomenal. And on the batting side, I think there were some decent contributions. We typically didn't have much of, like, we don't have much big hitters, but I think there was people who rotate strike, and I think that's what we did. We just basically kept the scoreboard and the required run rate under control, and made sure that we got the bonus point. Towards the end, we were more worried about making sure we got the bonus point than the win. The win was always in our control. It was making sure that we get the bonus point, and we just made sure the three balls that we had, 21.3, we knew that that was the magic figure. We made sure that we got the runs. But I think where Canton Hurricanes, I've seen Canton Hurricanes off the field, but this time on the field, I think they are definitely losing a lot of energy. I didn't see any energy from them. They let us, chase this almost like at will. We were picking singles and doubles at will. There wasn't much tooth in their bowling. So I think the loss of players has definitely impacted. I would be really sad to see this team disintegrate, because this is a very, very tough season for them. 10 out of 10 defeats, that definitely will take a toll. And we'll see how this team comes back next season, because, I'm really worried whether this team will even come back next season with the way I saw, like, the on the field body language.
Yeah, Parthav, you're right there, so you'll know better than anybody else. Sitting 10,000 miles away, all I can say is when the next highest score is 3, and Amit Sivrai scores that higher number of 72 in 78 balls, that's complete domination by a batsman. But even then, cricket is a team game. One guy can be absolutely great, as in this case, but still strikers got the win, and not only just got the win, they also got the bonus. And you had Sujay bowling 5 overs, 1 maiden, 6 runs, 6 wickets. I don't know. Those are stats which I would probably kill to get. That how great is that? That is, I've never had stats like that. Even I've played with players. I don't think any of the players I played with had that kind of incredible stats. I've seen 6 wicket hauls and things like that. Usually, the number of runs conceded is a little more than that. But I thought you guys were clinical. Sujay, Parthiv, and Sarvesh all in their 20s, and then you got some more contribution, I think, from one other player either. Also, I forgot his name. But
Ketan.
95 with Bob. Who was that again?
Ketan, I think.
Yeah, Canton. That's right. He was also in double figures. When that happens, basically you guys are hitting on all cylinders. I also think it is very difficult to be in the camp of Canton Hurricanes, and especially if the Canton Hurricanes skipper. It's difficult to motivate anybody when you have lost 10 out of 10 games, right? You're just going through the motions, and it's like, okay, let's just show up and let's just play and let's finish it off. Or, it's difficult to even get players to come and play the game because there is really nothing at stake. And so what are you playing for, kind of a thing, So that's kind of what the situation is. But I think Canton Hurricanes are in a very tough situation at this point. Having lost those players at the beginning of the certain season did not help. And then being in this tough division also did not help. If they were probably in Division 2, it would have been easier, kind of a thing. But they had talent last year, but this year they don't have the same amount of talent. So hard luck.
Yep. All right. Another game which is, very, very interesting from a division point of view was between Hitman and FCC. Hitman and FCC are at the bottom of Group B, again fighting for their survival in Division 1. So a win here would be very, very beneficial for both teams. And it was a very close game. Hitman winning eventually by 10 runs. But FCC had their chances. It was only if somebody had helped Bhuvan towards the end of that FCC innings. I mean, the top order completely failed. At one point of time, Hitman were all over FCC, but Bhuvan resurrected the comeback, and then, if there was a little more support, I think FCC could have, reached that magical 110 mark. I think it was just, him, Bhuvan, running out of partners that actually, towards the end, handed the game to Hitman. But as I mentioned, Hitman will welcome this victory. I think they were, towards the end of the season, I know, but there were some very good contributions from the back. Some of these new folks that the Bangladeshi recruitment that they have is finally coming, and a great innings by the former captain, Niranjan. I know we've talked about him in the past. He's been a very, very useful contributor for them over the past, but he hasn't really clicked this season. But coming back and scoring that 31 runs towards the end of the season definitely helps. And I think the decent total that they posted with the bowling that they have, Hitman have a pretty good bowling unit. I think Imran Kabir leads their pack, and he's outstanding. He's got some outstanding figures this season. I think they had enough, but it wasn't. If it wasn't for Bhuvan, I think they would have wrapped this game very, very early. It would have been very, very low score from FCC. But FCC, very, very disappointing. Just like Canton Hurricanes, I think they have lost quite a few players. I met with Sujan, who was playing and he had a thing or two to tell KK. He blames KK for the route, which FCC, a lot of the players that they have lost. And also, I think that Wamsi Tulasi, who was kind of their founder member and the guy who actually got the team together, he's missing as well. So I think that has really impacted FCC. They've just not been the same FCC, which was showing a lot of promise over the last few seasons.
Yeah,
Yes, Vijay, go
Parthiv, I
ahead.
mean, I felt that this game was one-sided, but for Bhuvan. All right. So, as you rightly said, but Santosh Kadikunta again has the second game in a row where he has reached double figures. Good game again. Niranjan had a fantastic game. Mohammad Faisal Ahmed, 26 and 28 balls. These three guys
Mhm.
got the job done. I think for FCC, Sujan himself bowled well, 5 overs, but 25 runs, but he picked 4 wickets. And Teju had outstanding figures, 5 overs, one made and 10 runs, 2 wickets. So I think on the bowling front, they did fine. It's on the batting end, nobody else contributed. But Parthu, I do not know what to make of this Bhuvan innings because I don't think you can blame Hitman because I don't see anybody thinking this was going to come. The reason I say
Yeah.
that is Bhuvan scored 47 and 49 balls. He had 5 4s and 1 6. But it's not like the Hitman suddenly they were dominating the game until Bhuvan came in the middle, and it's
Yep.
not like the Hitman took the pedal off the metal, because they all their main bowlers bowled. But really speaking, I don't think anybody could have anticipated this Bhuvan innings. I'll tell you why. In 8 matches, Bhuvan has scored 65 runs. In
Mm.
this match alone, he scored 47 runs. That means
Yep.
in another 7 matches, he has scored what, 17 runs, 18 runs? Now,
Mhm.
nobody is going to take notice of that. You get my point? But
Yep.
this innings by Bhuvan ensured that FCC got the bonus. That's what
Mm.
Bhuvan did. Single-handedly, he got them the bonus. I thought for Hitman, Aditya bowled really well. 5 overs, 11 runs, 3 wickets. Philip Thomas, once again, very economical spell. 3 overs, 12 runs, 1 wicket. And then Arun himself bowled very well. 5 overs, 11 runs, 2 wickets. So all three of them had outstanding figures. And I think the only mistake, I think, is Syed deciding to bowl himself. He bowled 2 overs and gave 15 runs. I think you could have given those 2 overs to Philip Thomas, who was more economical. So, really speaking, they used all their main bowlers. Syed himself is probably not their main bowler, but at this point,
Mhm.
um, I think they got the job done. But again, I think the bonus point disappeared only because of this whirlwind of an innings by Bhuvan. I mean, I don't think anybody could have expected that or even planned for that. I mean, when Amit comes and scored those runs, you know that he has done those kind of innings in the past. So,
Right.
yes, you might have some sort of a plan for that and things like that. But an innings like Bhuvan's, you did not see that coming. So, you can't blame Hitman for that. But I think they had a fantastic outing. So, congrats to Hitman and hard luck to FCC. But again, I think FCC probably don't have enough talent. And yes, Sujan is right. Most of the talent went with KK, or KK is, as Sujan is blaming KK, but we were already blaming KK even before Sujan blamed KK. So that's that.
Yeah, and both teams have a very, very tough road ahead. I mean, they're going to play some big teams going ahead as well. I think Hitmen probably have a even tougher road ahead. But this win definitely helps Hitman to keep, at least get ahead of FCC. But with Raptors and Dynamites in their way, it's very hard to see them, go through and stay in Division One right now, at least, unless they upset a few teams. All right, next game was a one-sider. If I had seen one in a very very long time in DCL, Bulls versus Stars. I mean, if you look at the scorecard, you would think that Bulls had Stars, pretty much like a uh, almost like a bottom ranked team. You would have, if you hadn't known Stars and the reputation, uh, any person would have come to the scorecard and said, it was just a mismatch. But, we all know what Stars are capable of. So this win by Detroit Bulls definitely, and we've been talking about Detroit Bulls and what Tanmay and Watsal have, how they have kind of morphed the team. The DNA has been different with the inclusion of some of these guys from, Pune and Wayne State, Omkar and then Swapnil and Chinmay. Nikhil Sunny has been suddenly now becoming like the guy who gives Detroit Bulls that solidity, along with Gino. Obviously, he's been the stalwart from the very get go for Detroit Bulls, and this team is definitely looking very very strong. Only thing I would say at this point of time, before I call them like favorites to go into going into the playoffs, is that they haven't been in that situation a lot of times. So it's definitely going to be a very, very new territory for them, something that they aren't used to. And that's what's going to be the test, whether they can carry this form into playoffs and beyond. That's going to be the real test. But Stars, in this case, very disappointed in their batting. I think the big gap in their batting, even with the inclusion of Amar, hasn't helped. Without Ravi Teja Reddy, their batting, is no good. Even though Shashank and Arun had decent contribution, but they lacked the teeth. And I was expecting Amar when he get, when it was announced that he would come in Stars. I was expecting that gap would be filled, that batting gap which was there with we talking about just Ravi Teja being the only one. I felt like Amar would be that backup in case or give support to Ravi Teja, but that hasn't happened yet. So definitely Stars lacking the batting depth, and that got exposed. And Detroit Bulls was just clinical. Go ahead,
Parthiv,
Raju.
this is the game for batsmen like Arun Lavakumar, right? With this ball again, now that we have realized that the ball is not traveling and things like that, even though it is last year's ball, but the fact that the ball's composition has changed somehow mysteriously, sitting in one for 1 year, I guess, has changed the composition. I'm not sure what, but at this point, it's the Arun Lavakumars who are scoring. The attacking batsmen are not scoring runs. Taken point like the person you're talking about, Amar,
Amar.
right? I mean, he's an attacking batsman, right? I mean, but he needs his boundaries. Well, guess what? The boundaries are not coming. So you need to be able to score along the ground. The batsmen like Tanmay Zante and the batsmen like Arun Lavakumar, who are scoring along the ground, they are scoring the runs, but when it is coming to hitting the boundaries, you're probably having only warning track power. Maybe once in a while a six goes, but by and large, the job is not getting done. So you have to be able to adapt your game. And so this is where you'll find that the teams which have those people who can take the singles and doubles, they are the teams which are doing well this season. And so all of a sudden we have a different ball game in our hand. But I think this was I don't know, such a lopsided win by Bulls. I don't think any of us saw it coming.
Yep.
I agreed Ravi Teja did not play, but listen, what is Ravi Teja doing? He is adapting his game. He is able to take the singles and doubles, so that's why he is
Yep.
not struggling. But somebody like Amar is struggling because he's not able to get the singles and doubles, and it's not his game, kind of a thing. It's not his style. And this game, I think Deepak Giriappa also did not play. So all of a sudden, Stars looked more like a piñata which was held up that the bull was ramming his horn on. So again, I think Hariparankusam's dream of winning an DCL championship hangs by a very, very thin thread at this point. I'm not so convinced that this team. Yes, pre-season we thought that this is the team, such a great assembly of talent. At this point, seeing what the ball is doing and seeing what the scores are and how few scores are there over 100 and how you have to play responsible cricket, that's what is getting rewarded, not the flamboyant attacking style of cricket. And that's why teams like Lads are struggling. Teams like or Stars, other than Ravi Teja, others are struggling. That's, you have a problem right then and there. But Titans
Yep.
are doing well. Pokeries are doing well. These are teams which can adapt their style. You'll see even in what is that GLCC, Kaushik has not been doing all that great. I
Yep.
mean, game after game it is this thing. But this is a person who had a fabulous season last year. But all of a
Yep.
sudden now it's not the same thing anymore. Yes, Vamsi has been able to hit sixes at will, but that's Vamsi. That's KK. I mean, yeah, but and so that's
Yeah,
what it is.
definitely. Definitely, I think the players who have been adapting and been able to curb their natural instincts somewhat and put the head down definitely have been doing well. And some of these attacking stroke makers, they haven't been, giving that respect to the ball and the pitch and the conditions and stuff. So yes, I think come playoffs, that's going to be the crucial when uh, everyone will have a very good bowling unit. Pressure will be on. I think that's where you will need those players who would be able to soak up that pressure and put that adaptation role to good effect. All right, let's go to the last game of that weekend. It's United Raptors and MCC Miles, and the significance of this game was huge because both these teams in Group A are basically next to each other. They are, I think, 5 or 6, and Raptors definitely needed it more than MCC Miles because I think Raptors had lost a few crucial games, and this win here, even by the slimmest of margin by 3 runs definitely puts them in a lot more easier. I won't say easier, but at least some breathing room while they look to the next 2 games to make sure that they're safe in Division One, but also playoff wise. I think this game had huge implications, and I think. Raptors should give credit to their batting. I think they got a very good score, 103. But MCC Miles is renowned for chasing down some big targets. So it was never going to be an easy task for Raptors to curb the natural instincts which MCC Miles have, the likes of Brahma and Sanjay, and now they got in Vijay Matta as well. I see him on the scorecard. So I mean, he's not the same Vijay Matta of the past, but at least he has that reputation which he brings in. And then obviously Rahul Chenna. So they have a pretty good batting unit which can chase down targets. And if And if MCC Miles had just got a little more support towards the end between Jaswant and Sanjay, if one of those guys had stayed till the end, I feel MCC Miles had this game even before the 24th or 23rd over. I think it was that collapse in the, I think it was the 20th and between 20th and I think 21st and 22nd over. That is what hurt MCC Miles. And suddenly, from a position where they were looking comfortable, they somehow lost track and just lost the game. It was by 3 runs, so it could have gone either way. But I think Raptors would be very, very happy and very, very satisfied that they were able to get those 4 points and keeping their season alive from both playoffs and division perspective.
Yeah,
What did you?
Parthiv, I think it was a textbook DCL cricket by Raptors, because if you look at it, Harsha Yalluri, Botta, Balaji Asapu, and Pradeep Anjuru, nothing outstanding. I wouldn't say any of their scores were outstanding cricket, but it's just what the doctor ordered. Maybe Pradeep Anjuru's 19 not out of 24 is a little outstanding. All the others are like, just doing what it needs. Let us get to 90, 100 runs. And sure enough, they get to that 100 mark. And that was all that was needed. And Miles, I'm surprised the top four batted well. And still, they still lost the game. I mean, now you said Matta is not the same Matta of old. Has he gained a lot of weight, or is that the reason why you're saying that? Or because I noticed that he's run out. Now I wonder why he's run out.
He's definitely gained. Yeah, he's definitely gained a few pounds. But even the way I've seen him bat in the last season or two before, he doesn't have that that batting prowess that once upon a time he had. He definitely is very late to shots. I think his instincts or his natural reactions are not there yet, not there anymore. So yep, he's no longer a threat. I don't think so, and I'm not sure whether Hari has realized this because I see him. I'm not sure. It's not Hari. In this case,
Sanjay, you mean?
Sanjay has realized that. I'm not sure as to what would be the reason for getting him so late in the season involved.
It could, didn't Hari recruit him to Stars, and then Stars brought in so much talent that Matta had no place in that team anymore, you see. But it's a long fall from grace. But again, Parthiv, I think a lot of it is fitness related, right? Because if you really look at it, I don't think there is going to be that much of an age gap between you and Matta, but you still are playing at a high level compared to, may not be as high a level as your former glory days. But I'm saying is the drop off between Matta's glory days to now and the drop off between your glory days to now is significant. It's like night and day. And I think a lot of it could be chalked to fitness. And if Matta could get fitter, probably, a few things can still work in your favor. But again, this ball probably also doesn't help Matta because Matta likes to hit the boundaries. And whereas, you always had the ability to knock around the singles. So I do think that some of these things are self-fulfilling prophecies, let's put it this way. I mean, in the sense that this is probably not the right ball for Matta. But having said that, Matta still has a name, a former reputation. So probably still strikes a little bit of fear into opponents. But I think by now, most people know that he's not the Matta of old.
Yep. Cool. All right. So that we finish our analysis for the games that happened last weekend. Is Satya around to show us the predictions? I think last I looked, I think Vicky was still leading by a fair margin. So that has.
But I think Gaba has almost caught up to Vicky. If I was not mistaken, I could be wrong. I do not know what the standings is this right now. But last, I think 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, Gaba was right there, I thought.
Oh yeah, he is. He's
Yeah,
only
see,
1 point
yeah,
behind.
yeah, it's
Wow.
just 1 point behind. And I don't know, those two guys from Pokris, I mean, they just will not give up the lead, It's unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, but Gaba has almost caught up. And I think I'll tell you where Gaba might have lost 1 point. It's in that GLCC game. So he has Ronnie to blame for this. He has Ronnie to blame for this because he might have been at 127 and those two guys might have been at 126 because I am assuming that they picked GLCC to beat Titans. And if that is the case, that is a cruel twist of fate. I see our Vamsi is also there at 125. So who else? Parag is at 125. And MBB, MBB, MBB.
123.
Yeah, so I think Peddi, Naveen Kumar, well, 120. I would say anything 120 to 127 is pretty exceptional. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep. But there's still, I think, 3 more weeks plus the playoffs, so anything can happen. So for playoffs, are we doing 2 points per prediction, right?
yeah,
Aren't we?
2 points per prediction, but we have very few games left, right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah,
So,
in the pre-quarterfinals you have some this thing, but really speaking, that's where you need the.
all right, let's look at the survey results from the prediction. So it looks like
Red Devil Troy
Red Devils overwhelming favorites. KRCC Detroit Titans. A lot of love for KRCC.
No,
Legend.
yeah, I mean, maybe the smart money on KRCC, but I think Parag Karwade and our friend Satish Gaba has voted for Titans, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I
Dynamite's
think,
getting some love.
yep. Lately, I think the KRCC unit is finally, coming through. A lot of the availability of the players were in question, but now I think they've started to come through. Okay.
Hawks, Fighters, Miles.
Gladiators. Oh, wow. KK will not like this. Gladiators overwhelming favorites against GLCC. I thought it would have been closer, more like 60-40 or something like that.
It's only
And I would
10. Like we
What is that?
expect more to come prediction, right? Only 10.
Oh, yes, only 10 votes have come so far. Okay.
Yes, that's why.
Okay.
I put it very
Because
last.
I think, yeah, he put it only today, right? So
Okay.
could get only that.
Yeah. I'm thinking it would be 60-40. It would be close.
Thunders
Okay.
is Hitman, so it goes to Thunders.
100%. That makes sense.
Vikings, Dark Horses,
Hmm.
Bulls, Royal Challenger.
That also, I think, is in line.
I see that Pankaj Watts did not play again. Is he out of the country or something? Or
He,
usually he
he
doesn't
just
miss a
came
game?
back. No, he just
Oh, he
came
just
back.
came.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I picked. Dark Horses in that game because I didn't know where he was.
Right. SSK or there's a lot of blues. Looks like there's a lot of one-sided games, at least what people think.
SSK, Agni, Punjab, Scorpion, Marvels, Ria Riders, Royal, I think Challengers. Punjab Lions, MI Rangers, Local Boy Motor City. Yep. So
Looks like some of the Division 2 games seem to be very one-sided this week. At least what the prediction says.
So this is ours. So,
all right, let's see. Okay, Red Devils. Okay, everybody votes for Red Devils. Raptors Legends. Okay, it's a split. Satish Gaba.
Like Titans. Okay.
KRCC. Oh wow! Even Gabaji votes for KRCC.
Oh, Gaba has voted for KRCC. Man, Gaba is that little rascal Gaba. I mean, tell me about it. Gaba has voted for KRCC.
Well,
I hope, Partha, remember I forwarded you this thing. There are people who are
Yep.
hoping for some video cameras because they want to see Gaba versus Jasneet now that Jasneet is back. I hope Gaba will will keep it interesting and will make a few comments, and we'll see what happens. So, Dynamites. Partha, I have to clarify this Dynamites comment. I picked Dynamites over Pokeries.
Wow, that is a bold prediction. Both.
Yeah, because you know why I made that pick, because I'm thinking this is a do or die game for Dynamites, and so if Dynamites are going to get all these players, and I think the PSL players probably want to prove a thing or two, considering that they lost in that final, right, of the T90.
Yeah.
Did they lose in the T90 final? So here is an opportunity for them to even up the score. The only problem is the ball favors Pokeries, and Pokeries is the more disciplined unit, and also Pokeries is the smarter unit, and Pokeries is has got the players who know how to play the game, and they are not impacted by, I don't know, F40 or whatever other leagues are going on. So all those things are working in favor of Pokeries. But at some point, I have to take some chances. I thought, okay, let me take a chance. And I know Vijay Shanmugam would love to beat Ranjit, all right? I mean, he really is dying to beat Ranjit. These are, I'm sure these are good buddies off the field. But, at the same time, the bragging rights has always been with Ranjit. So I'm pretty sure that Ranjit will bring his best unit, and I'm sure Vijay will want to prove a point that, you know what, Ranjit, I know how to get the job done too. So I think for all, and also remember, many of the players, when they don't fit into Pokeries, end up gravitating towards Dynamites, whether it is Arun Swaminathan or whether it is Arun Selvaraj or a couple of other players. And then when some people do very well for Dynamites, they end up gravitating towards Pokeries, right? So for all those reasons, I think there'll be some underlying tension there. So we'll see how these teams handle that tension. But I could watch a game. I think I would like to watch this game.
It'll definitely be interesting. But I see what it's a calculated risk.
Yeah,
I think,
calculated risk on Hawks too.
yes,
Because
that is more surprising than the other one. I feel Hawks versus Fighters. I think hands down Fighters. That is a bolder prediction than the other one. I feel.
Well, the Hawks thing is that we played Hawks and we played Fighters, and I really walked away very impressed with the Hawks bowling as well as this thing. But their batting is a little suspect. But I do not know if Fighters are going to be impacted by F40 and things like that. We'll see. So I thought somewhere I have to take some chance. Big deal coming second best and last. I don't see much difference.
That's true. That's true. All right. MCC Miles and FCC, I think that's a no-brainer. GLCC Glads. Wow, I'm the only one who's got on GLCC's wagon. I think the reason why I picked, because I think availability is still going to be an issue. So that's what I feel, that tilts it towards GLCC. I think they are mostly untouched because of, they don't have any dependency on the Mishka as much as you guys have. So unless you guys have everyone available, then it's a different thing altogether.
No, we don't. I mean, we have issues, right? And mainly it's F40. I think starting the last week of the season, which is why I think if we run into the playoffs, I think all of a sudden all the F40 is done, and now all of a sudden now all of a sudden whoever is playing us, if we make the playoffs, they will have their hands full. That's where it becomes fool's gold to be at the number one position there.
Right.
Or whoever is the number 3 position, I guess, right? Because 1 and 2 gets a bye. So
Right.
it'll be 3 versus 6 or 4 versus 5. I don't see
Mhm.
us going anything above 5.
Mhm. And that's the discussion we've had in the start of the season last year with Hardeep and Taif, because we were planning to push our season ahead, but that would mean that there's a clash. Earlier, if you remember, the clash used to happen with both going into playoffs, which is even worse because then the team has to decide which players they will have for the playoffs. In this case, at least, I mean, yes, it's going to be tough to get to the playoffs, but at in playoffs at least we'll have people who are already done with their F40 commitments. So hopefully we'll get the full star lineup. Thunder's Hitman. Yeah, I think it's one-sided. Dark Horse's Vikings. Wow, that is interesting. I think both of us have backed Pankaj Watts to
Yeah,
come
well, it's
through.
good to know that it's good to know that Watts is back.
Yeah, and courtesy of his message in the captain's group, that's how I knew that he's back. That's
Oh,
the
is it
only way.
okay?
Yeah.
Where did he go? Did he go to India or something like that? Is
Yeah, I
that
think
why?
he was on. Yeah, he was on
Okay,
vacation.
okay.
Bolts, Thunderbolts, and SSK are favorites. Spartans, KCC. Wow, there's some love for Spartans. For Okay, I think you guys are backing them up. I think this is another one of your calculated risk. I'm assuming, Satya
Yeah,
and
it is
Vijay.
another calculated risk. And again, I feel this one was okay because KECC, we are going based on name recognition of Tejas
Hmm.
Shantagowda and Pradeep. And
Right.
if I think it's only last week I realized that Tejas is not playing anywhere else. And if DCL is the only place where he's playing, very little chance for him to make that big an impact, because you
Mhm.
have to be in somewhat of a good touch to really make an impact. So that's the reason why I went against KECC. Um, I haven't felt, and Spartans, I felt that off late they have been playing pretty much good cricket. At the beginning of the season, I didn't think they'll win any game, but after they recruited some young talent and things like that, they've been getting the job done.
Mm. Yep. Definitely have sparked a little bit towards the end of the season. Marvel Scorpions. Scorpions and everything else looks like one-sided. Racha Riders, Punjab Lions, and local boys. All of them look to have our backing. So I think the game to really watch, obviously, apart from Gladiators and GLCC, looks like it's going to be Legends Raptors. Is another one which might be an interesting one. And from
Which
the
one again?
Division Two,
Legends Raptors should
yep,
be a good game.
Poker
yep,
is Dynamites too because Dynamites has to
Well,
win.
yeah. But Dynamites has to win. So I think
yep.
Dynamites. I mean, if you have put in this effort, I think they put in that effort against Indus. Now, I don't think they had their full unit of higher talent, but I'm
Mhm.
not sure if Norman Anwar was just a one game wonder. But by the way, where did Dynamites play Indus? Because last game, Parthiv, I was watching the Glads game versus
Hmm.
Fighters. Suddenly, I heard a huge roar, an unbelievable roar that I could pick 10,000 miles away. And I'm assuming it must have been a huge wicket which fell on the neighboring ground. And I'm assuming maybe Nauman Anwar got out and Indus made a big hue and cry over it. I mean, the only way that roar could have been that loud would have been if. Do you guys know where
They were
these guys
playing
played
against
last?
Raptors in DSP.
Oh, in our neighboring ground?
Yes, and also
Oh,
Titans.
okay.
Also, they were playing on the same place.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, my feeling is then it is probably Nauman Anwar getting out because it was somewhere at the beginning of the break, you see, that I heard
Hmm.
this big roar. So
Yeah,
I'm
the
assuming that,
Dynamites were batting. So
okay.
Okay. All right,
Well,
that brings us to the end of the show. And as things get interesting towards the end of the season, as it always does, there are a lot of teams playing for playoffs, a lot of teams playing for survival in Division 1. And don't forget Division 2. There are a lot of there are teams that are going to be fighting it out for getting into Division 1 as well, because I think that's going to be an interesting one. Even though they probably will have to wait until playoffs to figure out who gets into Division 1. But there are teams
So
that are going to be fighting.
it's not the regular season top two that get into Division 1. It's rather who makes
Yep,
semi-finals.
this is the semifinals. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll have to wait till then, because the knockouts, as you know, anything could happen. So even though they might be leading the pool right now, but come playoffs, things could change. All right,
Yeah, and
that
again,
was
I think
yeah,
in SSK the leadership change has made a huge difference, because
yep,
all of a sudden they are performing so great this year at least.
yep. But I think they were definitely. I think what division I was talking with someone. A lot of Division 2 teams are going to be in that unfamiliar situation of playing in playoffs for the first time, because a lot of these teams haven't played or haven't gone through playoffs in this year. So it will be quite interesting to see how they cope up.
Mm. So, Partha,
Cool.
what's your stake on Strikers team? I mean, you guys are playing. Who else? You're definitely playing fighters.
We are playing fighters. We have Titans, and we have our that washout game, Troy Hawks.
Royal.
So we have 3 games.
Okay.
So I'm hoping, like, I think getting to playoffs will be great, but I think the goal is to just make sure we are still in Division 1 this season.
Okay.
But I'm very happy with some of the new finds that we have, and with the kind of leadership Sujay has taken over. I think team is in good hands going forward. We just need to
How come
keep building
Kapil
on.
is not how come Kapil is not playing these games these days?
Couple is in India, and a lot of us have now grown-up kids. Like Binod doesn't play; he has a grown-up kid playing in the under 15 tournament. So a lot of these guys now have a lot of commitment. So uh, you know, we'll see how much longer Kapela and Binod can even play anymore longer. So, but as I said, team is it's a young team that is developing, and I hope that if we stay in Division 1, I think there is going to be definitely keeping on, keep building upon it. Division 2 might result in some problems, but we'll see. At least now,
Okay.
right now, we are okay in terms of placement.
Okay.
One more win, I think, will secure us Division 1 at least. Cool. All right. That's all for today, guys. We'll again meet next week with more analysis, more predictions. But until then, good night, everyone, and take care.
All right.